We're talking about how 90% of your success is determined by your mindset. Let me know if you agree. I'd like to hear if you have a hard time keeping your mindset right. Does anyone else struggle with mindset and success? You know what I'm talking about, where you know that there's something that you need to do, right? Maybe I've told you as your coach, I've been telling you to do something, or you've been watching and listening to our podcast, and you know you need to do a video, or maybe you need to organize your CRM, or you need to be posting more on social media, or whatever it is that you know that you need to do, and you're not taking action on it, right? And the reason that most of us don't take action is because of our mindset. We have to get ourselves motivated and excited about it. And another flip side of that, I believe a lot of us don't take action because of fear. We are afraid of what is going to happen, and we're really just afraid that we're going to fail, right? We're afraid of failure. We're afraid of all these unknown possibilities that could take place, and we kind of psych ourselves up. We think, all of the things that could go wrong, maybe the people that might view us differently or not like the video that we put, or maybe judge us, right? We're going to put a video out that everyone's going to judge us over. We're worried about, I'm going to sound stupid. Listen, if you've been watching this long, you know that I'm not the most eloquent person. I'm stumbling around my words, but you know what? It's better for me to go live and to be on this podcast and not be totally polished and rehearsed than for me to not do anything at all, and for you to not hear from me at all. And that's just one of many examples. What about how we talk about doing for sale by owners, calling for sale by owners, or calling expireds, or connecting with your past clients? If you're like me, I'm an introvert, and calling someone without a reason is really uncomfortable for me. I don't like to just call people up and kind of shoot the breeze, so to speak. I can do it, but it's not something I enjoy. And I definitely have to psych myself up to do it. And when I do, we see good results. Connection is the thing that is really missing, I think, in our society in general. People long for connection. And we, as real estate agents, know that when we connect more, we convert more. So it's something we need to do. And yet, are we actually making the phone calls? Are we actually connecting with enough people on a weekly basis to meet our goals? So again, the formula to success here is 90% mindset and 10% numbers. So if you can get your mindset right, really the numbers are going to take care of themselves. You get your mindset right, you're going to be excited and motivated. And maybe you won't at first. So that's another thing I think we need to discuss, and maybe a myth that we need to dispel, is that you're always going to feel like it. No. The person that is successful is probably taking action even when they don't feel like it, even when they're unsure, even when they don't feel prepared. And yet they know they need to do it, so they just move forward, right? They just do it. So that's what I want to talk to you about today, is getting your mindset right. I've heard from a lot of you, and really more and more people and more of our students, of how they are, uncertain. They feel lonely. They are, struggling with depression. And, mental health is a big thing. And I'm definitely not qualified to talk about that or to give advice on mental health, but I can tell you some things that have helped me. So I struggle with like thinking that worst case scenario, so much so that I had to add to my core values this sentence: seek first to understand. And for those that don't know, that is a principle that Stephen Covey outlines. I think it's a whole chapter in his book. I want to say it's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, something like that. It's an older book, probably one of the older first self-help books that I read, but it's an excellent book. And that principle is talking about how we jump to conclusions. And I'm the worst on this. So what will happen to me is I will text somebody, I will call somebody, and I won't hear back from them. And my first reaction is to think about all this negative of, oh my gosh, they're mad, or what's going on. I bet that they don't like me anymore. I bet that they don't want to do business with me anymore. I bet something went wrong, right? And so I'm telling myself all of these stories where in reality, they were probably just busy, right? There is something that had nothing to do with me whatsoever, that they didn't respond. And so maybe they took a couple days to respond. But in the meantime, I got so emotionally invested and so upset and, telling myself all of these narratives and really stealing joy and happiness for myself in that moment because I was worried. And I have to remind myself, no. So, first of all, don't jump to conclusions, right? Seek first to understand. And I mean, that's one example of somebody not responding right away. But what about a misunderstanding? What about just having a conversation with a coworker or a client or maybe your husband, and something just was communicated that you didn't understand, and you really thought that they meant something that they didn't? Why not ask questions? Why not seek first to understand before jumping to a conclusion? So that is something that I have had to implement, and so much so that I made it one of my core values at my real estate company, because I would do it to my employees. Being a leader and being a team leader with employees is it's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to lead other people, and it takes a lot of self-discovery and a lot of self-work to become a good leader and to be uh, good at communicating and having those hard conversations with everyone. And so that's why I put that there. So that is a principle that has helped me a lot. I also grabbed a couple of books just because I know I'm not the only one. And I mean, if you're brave and you don't mind sharing, let me know. Does anyone else struggle with keeping yourself motivated, keeping yourself excited, keeping that mindset right so that you can do the most you can and the best you can in this real estate business? I'd love to hear from you. So, some other books that I've read that have really helped me a lot is Switch on Your Brain. And this is by Caroline Leaf, The Key to Peak Happiness, Thinking, and Health. And she is actually a neuroscientist, I believe, is her technical term. She has like her doctorate. Yeah, she's amazing, highly educated, and she's also a Christian. And so, what I thought was really cool about this book is she gives you some exercises to literally rewire your brain. And mostly, just kind of to summarize the book, mostly it's about what you're dwelling on. What are you focusing on? What are you putting into your brain? What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you watching? And reframing everything really in your life. Instead of thinking that your circumstances are happening to you, think and really understand and trust that everything is happening for you. As a child of God, we should remember the Bible verse, right, that says, all things work together for good for those that love God, to those that are called according to his purpose. So if I'm really trusting and leaning on my faith in God and my higher power, right? I know that no matter what's happening around me, that he has a bigger plan and a bigger picture in mind. But it's when I resist that, right, that I'm unhappy because I'm like, oh, I don't trust you to handle this. I don't trust you to make sure that this is all going to work out in the end. All I can see is this disappointment and heartache I see right now. So therefore, I'm going to be frustrated and upset about it and worry because I'm not in control. And, thinking about real estate, I have a real life example that happened to me. So some may remember this. I posted about it in the Real Estate Megamom Facebook group. But I had a client that had been showing properties to for quite a while. I think we've been showing her homes for probably 8 months. And we finally found the home. I mean, this was it. They loved it. They just thought it was amazing. And I let the agent know, hey, we're going to be submitting an offer. Um, do you have any other offers? She said, no, we don't. This was like on a Friday or Saturday. And so that Sunday morning, I submitted my offer. Well, I sent it in Sunday morning, first thing. Didn't hear anything. She asked a follow up. She did ask one follow up question, which was, I think, if we could send over a pre approval or something like that, which I did have, but we needed an updated date. So I told her, okay, well, we sent this over the weekend, so we'll get it in on Monday. And so, as far as I knew, we were going to kind of wrap this all up on Monday. I was going to send over the approval. There was no other offers to my knowledge. And I felt like we had it in the bag. We were offering over asking price. We had an escalation clause in there. Well, in our team meeting Monday morning, we were all sharing, like, we wrote this offer. I have this under contract. So we were sharing our wins. And one of my team members said, yeah, I made an offer on Northbrook on this property that I'm talking about. And I'm like, you did what? So come to find out, my showing agent had submitted an offer on this same property that I had submitted an offer on. And the listing agent failed to notify me that there was another offer. So I wasn't able to let my clients know so that they could, submit their highest and best offer. Oh my gosh, I was hot. I was so hot. Obviously, not at my showing agent because she didn't know. She had no clue. But the listing agent should have notified us. And I do think it was an honest mistake, but still very frustrating. Obviously, my clients were disappointed and upset. And I was mostly upset that I felt like I had let them down. So I turned her into the real estate board or MLS board. And I'm like, that was unethical. You should have notified all parties, because the other side of that is she did notify the other agent that there was another offer. So that other agent was able to submit their highest and best offer because they were aware. So anyway, it was an honest mistake, I guess. I mean, anyway, but now, since I'm in the same office and I see that this other contract went through, I've gotten to see that contract play out. And then meanwhile, my clients, I was able to find them another home, and it's probably better, right? It's better than what they initially were going after. And so the property that we missed out on ended up having a hail claim, like a $30,000 roof hail claim, and the seller was unwilling to pay for all of it. The buyer had to pay for a portion of it. And I don't think my buyers would have done that if they would have been the buyer that won the offer. So my point here is I was so frustrated. I was so upset to the point where I actually filed a complaint. And that is very rare. In fact, I've never done it before. I've never didn't even know the process to file a complaint, but I was that upset for my clients. But in the end, they found a home that was better. Turned out the property that we were going after was more of a headache, probably wouldn't have worked out. And I know that's a little example, but my point is, I think if we will give God time and really just give time in general to our problems, we can see how things work together in the end. Even think about your life. This year at the Abundance Conference, I shared a lot of my story and my journey in real estate, but also just my personal journey with some ups and downs that I've had, and talked about failure. And I promise you, each and every one of those low points that I experienced, I was not thinking, oh, this is all going to work out. I didn't have a great mindset about it. I was really disappointed and I'm not going to rehearse and go through everything that I've gone through now. But my point is, looking back, I can see how God was working everything together for my good, right? God had a plan. The song, God is in this story. God is in this story. He's in my story and he's in your story.